Hello, everyone, and welcome back to If Margaritas Could Talk, the Over 40 Chronicles podcast, where we are talking all things social comedy and the new year. I'm your host, Tracy Black, and we are taking a ride through 2024 with our Hot or Not Recap New Year's Eve edition. And I would like to welcome back my co-host, Keira Wilding.
Thanks, Tracy. It's great to be back. Happy New Year's. I'm so excited to be with you here to recap 2024 and all things hot or not, especially on New Year's Eve. Let's grab a margarita, maybe a glass of champagne or your beverage of choice. Buckle up because it's going to be a bumpy ride.
So I was hoping we could start off the show by informing our listeners about how we met. Perhaps you could share your version of how we met.
Yeah, I'd love to. You are my 10-hour friend. People always ask, you're what? I go, my 10-hour friend. This is how Tracy became my 10-hour friend. It was 2012. I went on a solo trip to Mexico, sat down. I had an aisle seat, sat next to Tracy and her son, instantly connected, flew 5 hours all the way to Cancun, went our merry way, never thought we would ever see each other again. 1 week later, bumped into each other at the Cancun airport, flying home, and sat next to each other yet again. I think it was the exact same seats, actually, and chatted the whole 5 hours back. So when we parted ways, she became my 10-hour friend.
Technically, it was 12 hours.
Yeah, we did spend 2 hours in the airport chatting as well. But 10-hour friend sounds better, I think. And we can't change it now. You've been my 10-hour friend for, 12 years. Sorry, 12 years.
Yep, 12 whole years we've been friends. It's been, I think through the last 12 years, we've had moments of hit or misses. And, we're getting a little bit older. We've gotten a little bit more wiser. Our children are grown, and now we're embarking upon this new journey. And I'm super excited about it. So yeah, here we are. My 10-hour friend. So good. So good
to do this with you as well. Two things that I just want to point out or just make mention, two things that I remembered about you. All your stamps of all the countries that you've been to. I was fascinated. I just kept going through page after page, and your eyelashes. You had the most, and still have the most beautiful eyelashes I've ever seen.
Aw, thank you. Well, you know what? You being who you are, and everybody who knows you knows that you have a heart of gold, and your smile can light up a room. So there you have it. I was hoping we could get started with our first hot or not question, and this is how it's going to be. So I wanted to bring up the first hot or not, which is the Glasgow Willy Wonka chocolate experience mock-up. So imagine a sparse warehouse staged to be magical, but fell short, leaving upset parents and crying children after getting only one jelly bean. Can you imagine what would you do in that situation? And is it hot or not?
And there was a lot of upheaval, there was almost a riot that occurred because of that. Parents had to pay £25, £35 extra. And if you Google that, there's this 6-foot card table. It didn't have a tablecloth on it, half glasses of lemonade. It was, fail. Not.
That is a not. It's, I guess there's no shortage in trying to do something, I don't know. I guess the whole point was maybe somebody was trying to make a quick buck and they made a quick buck, but not in the right way.
He tried. Absolutely. Absolutely. So, Tracy, what were your top Netflix series? Are you a Netflix girl? I don't want to ask if you Netflix and chill, but do you binge Netflix series?
I do. I think my top favorite this year, and I'm sort of I'm addicted to Love is Blind. I love Love is Blind. So that's one of my faves in Netflix, but probably the show with Kristen Bell and Adam Brody. That, which now off the top of my head, I don't remember what the name of it is. Yes.
No Good Deed. I just was watching that. It was not No Good Deed?
No, that one is Lisa Kudrow. That's Lisa Kudrow.
Oh, that's that one. Yes. Sorry, I'm watching that one. I did see the Kirsten Bell one as well. God, I can't remember it, but
With
yes.
Hot Rabbi.
That
Hot
Oh,
Rabbi.
Hot Rabbi. Can't forget Hot Rabbi. I love Hot Rabbi. He is hot.
He
Oh
is
my
hot.
goodness. Yes. I did watch that. I saw obviously No Good Deed as well. Have you seen Chaos or have you watched Chaos with Jeff Goldblum?
I have not.
My good, you know what? I have a little crush on Jeff Goldblum. I really do.
That-
Chaos. It is modern day gods. Like there's name some of them. It's been a few months since I was watching it, but it's modern day not kings, but what are some of the Marvel movies?
I don't even know. I don't watch them.
Just watch Chaos. It's great. Jeff Goldblum,
Chaos it
you will love
is.
it. Yes, yes, it's
Chaos it is.
Kaos.
Yes. But back to Kristen Bell and Adam Brody, definitely hot. They are on the hot list. So that is our first hot or not. What's your opinion?
Yeah, definitely, definitely hot.
Hot
Absolutely.
Rabbi.
Yeah, Hot Rabbi, gotta love him.
Okay, so next up on our hot or not, we are going to talk about a big one, which is, of course, Bennifer. So, as most of you know out there, J-Lo and Mr., which we're not going to name his name, Mr. Affleck. Well, I didn't want to name it because I like Bennifer better. But anyway,
Okay.
uh,
Are they on
Hot
again?
Mess Express. Can you say it? Hot Mess Express. I think, you know, the intention of the two of them getting together and rekindling everybody, the world was so hopeful. And she's, this really true, like she loves love, right? That's her thing. Um, it kind of hurts my soul a little bit that she just can't land it. I don't know what it is. Oh, he's not a spotlight guy. She's a spotlight girl. And I think, there was the blended family thing. You got Jennifer Garner in the background. You got people in the background who have a say. And I don't know, for whatever reason, just the moment that they got married in Georgia, which I watched the wedding, updates after the fact, and it just it almost came across like it looked like it was forced.
Yeah, no, I saw it too, definitely forced. And it must be so hard as two people in the public eye that are as famous as they are to make it work. It's hard enough for the you and I's to make it work with our partners. We're not in under constant scrutiny, under a microscope. Everything we do is not being judged. I think people judge me anyways, but how hard for anybody in that position to have a successful relationship?
Yeah, that makes sense. I think too, when, Jennifer she had started a tour as well, and all of the awards shows and stuff, she's an A-lister. So for her being on all of those things and Ben Affleck not wanting to be a part of that, definitely I think puts a lot of strain. I mean, you saw the video clips of her kind of chewing him out in front of the camera and like different things like that. Like he always looks like he's got resting, what face. So it's kind of sad. I was sad to see that Bennifer didn't work out again. But you
Yet
know the
again.
story of the first time why it didn't work out, right? Do you know
I
the
probably
story?
let's see, you tell me.
I don't know. It was a tabloid thing where I think it was a weekend after he proposed. He spent a weekend in Vegas and ended up at the Sapphire Room doing in a closed room with some specific particular women for a series of hours. So that was in the tabloids. Now, whether or not, of course, tabloids, right? You don't know whether or not it's true or not, but it abruptly ended shortly after that trip. So there had to be some connection for sure.
Well, and whether they're true or not, it's out there, right? It's like gossip when you were, a teenager. It didn't have to be true, but it was out there. Might as well have been true for all that matters. So yeah, it's too bad. But you know what? For Bennifer, there could be third time's a charm too, right?
Third time. So I think it's not hot. That's my vote.
Not
Not
hot.
hot.
Hey, speaking of Jennifer, because she is definitely a triple threat, can we jump into another triple threat? Beyonce.
Yeah, Queen Bee.
Yes. What do you think about her move to do country with Texas Hold'em?
Texas Hold'em.
Texas Hold'em.
It, yeah, I watched the Netflix clip that they did on it and actually just last night. And so I don't know. She comes from Texas. That's, I mean, if you look at Taylor Swift she was country before she came pop, and she took on that genre with a smooth transition. I'm not sure if there's many people that piped up about it, but she's there to do a job. They hired her to do that job. She did the job. That's what she was paid for. She wrote the song back, I think it was the beginning of 2024. It came out and everybody loved it. Everybody's on board. And then she does the halftime show, and then all of a sudden nobody's on board again. I'm confused.
Is it overplayed? Like, was it overplayed at that point? I love the song. I think it's catchy. I think it's a feel-good song. I love it. I think people were up in arms about the fact that she releases one song and then she wants to be embraced into the Country Music Hall of Fame and the Country Music Association. And people are going, hold on, you haven't paid your dues in the country music world yet. Like, kind of stay in your lane for a little bit. I don't know. I love her. I love the song. Let her do what she wants to do. If you don't like it, don't listen to her, turn it off, change the radio station, whatever. I love it.
Yeah, I love it too. I think it's hot.
I
I'm going to
think it's
go with a
hot
hot.
too.
Yeah. Yeah. And one of the other things that I did happen to notice on social media, there was quite a few people, of course, the wonderful world of social media where people just all feel they have a voice to speak whatever is on their mind, complaining about her daughter being in the choreography for the NFL. Again, she's 13. She's drop dead
Mhm.
gorgeous. She's a beautiful young girl. She's taller than her mother at this point. And she has been, the last tour that she was on tour with Beyonce, this last tour she did. And so I guess the problem that I have with everybody being so up in arms about her being 13 and dancing with her dance company and troupe is that if normal people every day, myself included, put my children and my daughter in dance, and dance recitals and different things go on every single year. So if somebody is allowing their child to be in part of production for their own show, what is it of anybody else's business? Just let the girl be, man. She's having a good time. Her parents are Jay-Z and Beyonce. Like, what else would you expect? Nothing less than that.
No, absolutely. People just have to stop being Karens.
Karens. All right, Karens,
Karens.
knock it off. All
Yes.
right.
Karens and cancel culture.
Yep.
We're in a big world of cancel culture.
I agree.
Yeah.
All right. So up next, I have a question for you.
Okay.
What was your best social interaction that you've had this year, do you think?
My best social interaction this year. Geez, you're catching me on the spot, Tracy. This year, I think what we're doing right now, I do not put myself out there. I do not venture into the unknowns as much. I like to keep everything that I do in a comfort zone. This is out of my comfort zone. So interacting with you in this kind of setting and then hearing kind of everybody's opinion and their comments and, just telling me how much they like your podcast. This is my second. That has been my best social interaction yet this far.
Fabulous.
It is. It is. What about you?
I think my best social interaction would have been like a small moment in time. This year's been it's been one of those years, unfortunately, and I happen to be the fun recipient of a Tim Hortons pass through. You're having one of those moments in your day, and then you drive up and you pull up to pay for your order, and the kind person in front of you has paid. Forever try to pay it forward as much as I possibly can. So for the first time in my life this year, I was the first recipient of that. So I was very happy.
That's happened to me once before. I love it. It does. You could be in a really bad mood. Somebody pays for your coffee ahead of you. Did you pay it back to the guy behind you?
You know it.
You did. And hopefully the guy wasn't buying for his whole office.
Yeah, I don't think so. Thank goodness. But even if it was, again, it's just about the paying it forward. So
Absolutely. Those
good
are great
times,
moments.
good
Yes, for
times.
sure. Hey, are you ready for another hot or not topic?
Hit me.
Australian break dancer.
Ray gun. Nice.
Reagan, hot or not, what did you think about that? Because everybody had lots to think about that. There were
Yeah.
lots of thoughts, lots of thoughts.
I think okay, first of all, it was the Olympics. Second of all, I was super ecstatic because, of course, Simone Biles was back and killed it in everything as usual. The ray gun thing, you know what's really quite funny? I actually was slow on the movement of that because I hadn't watched, I was just focused 100% on Simone Biles and our Canadian swim team. And so when it came out, I was like, what is all this noise about? And actually, I think it was you that came to me that said something about, did you watch the video on the breakdance at the Olympics? And I said, I didn't actually. And so I happened to, go on. And then all of a sudden I'm like, oh yeah, all this hoopla about ray gun. Now, that being said, I give kudos to her for having a big enough, whats to like get up there and do that. She really, in her mind, she was achieving something. Her mind, she'd made it to the Olympics, which okay, not many people can say they made it to the Olympics, but athletes are athletes. They work hard, they put the time in, they put the years in to get there. And so for the world to sort of judge and be really, really cruel was hard to sort of watch, but I understood the element because it was hard. It was hard to watch. Now, that being said, she made it on every magazine, like
She
Rolling
did.
Stone, People magazine, like she made it out there. So I don't know. I think it was a miss. It wasn't, I think it was hot actually, because she accomplished something.
Well, she definitely accomplished. Everybody's talking about her, and what is that saying? Bad publicity, not this bad, but bad publicity is better than no publicity at all. I mean, people made fun of her. People, does she deserve it? It wasn't a great performance. It is not an athletic performance. I find it was a bit embarrassing for the Olympics, but good on her for just getting out of your comfort zone.
Yeah, absolutely. And not only that, don't forget our Canadian guy won.
Yes.
Yeah, which was good.
Yes.
All right.
Excellent. Yes.
Moving along. I would like to talk about the worst movie of 2024. I think it was not hot. And I'm going to throw it out there and I want you to tell me your opinion on it. I heavily disliked, Ryan Gosling is beautiful and all the things in Barbie and everything he's ever touched, but I felt like Fall Guy
Yep.
was just a miss for me in 2024 for movies. I don't know. I was like, what is this and why? I don't know. It didn't land for me, but I don't know. You may have a difference of opinion. What do you think?
Fall Guy. I loved the movie. I love that kind of humor. I love that kind of comedy. I love like the Will Ferrells, the Adam Sandler. I loved Fall Guy. I loved Barbie for what it was. It's not going to, did it win any awards? But I am not the person that has to go see the big Academy Awards, the big blockbusters. If I'm in for a movie, if I'm in that mood just to sit down and have a laugh on Fall Guy, and I will have loved it. So I loved it. I loved Fall Guy. For what
All
it
right.
was meant to do, I think it hit the mark.
So you are saying that Fall Guy was hot,
I loved it. I thought it was hot.
and I am going to defer and say it was a not for me.
It was not, it could have been the time that you were watching it. Watch it at a different time. Grab a drink on a Saturday night, sit down and don't expect to just watch comedy. I think you would have a different point of view.
That's true. That is true. One never
Yeah,
knows.
absolutely. Absolutely.
Hey there. Have you ever heard about permanent jewelry? It's this amazing trend where you get custom fit pieces that you never have to take off. It's absolutely about style and convenience, making your look effortlessly chic. Trust me, once you tried it, you'll wonder how you ever lived without it. Life is forever beautiful with kindredfusion.com.
We were speaking about singers and we did bring up Taylor Swift, but what about Taylor Swift and her Eras tour? Like that went on all of 2024.
Yeah, I think, the wonderful thing is I didn't get an opportunity to see it. She is she hit it hard. I think that one of the most important elements of her growth has been that she's maturing, and you're seeing a difference. You're like, just in the way she's navigating her life, just in the way she's responding out in the world and in her fans. She's got a completely different, really matured adult approach. And it was, I don't know, I think it's been a nice change to watching, just as we're watching her mature and growing and becoming like the artist that she is,
I
you know?
totally agree. I think she's an amazing, amazing woman. She's an amazing talent. And what she has done, like every city that she has gone to, she has like changed their economy,
Yeah.
solely changed every city's economy. Good
Yeah.
for her. What she is, I think she's amazing.
I think one things that at the end, when she finished, I think the last tour, which she finished up in Vancouver, there was a article that was written about her that she paid out, and you'll have to don't quote me 100% on this, but it was something like $1.7 million to all of her entire crew and team that was on tour with her. And that's like all of the rig guys and all the people who do all the traveling and take all the, like, everything. She gave $1.7 million for them to all split, which is a big chunk of change for a lot of people.
Oh, absolutely life
So
changing.
you
Yep.
don't hear of artists doing that very often. And I was quite surprised at that. And way to go, Taylor Swift, you knocked it out of the park.
She absolutely did. Definitely a hot for me.
Hot for me too.
Hot, hot, hot.
Okay, so next hot or not is up. Now, this is going to be, this one is a little bit different. So, Haley Welsh, the Huck 2 girl. Let's talk about her for a second. I don't know. I think that I didn't understand what the whole hype of it was. And I think that it didn't make sense to me at first. And then I was like, how does I know she's on TikTok and she's an influencer and so on, but I don't know. I didn't know as much about it until, I heard some other stuff about it. What do you think about her?
I don't see the fascination. I don't see the appeal. Not saying that she's not a beautiful woman. I think she is, but I definitely a not like hot for me. I don't get it. I don't know where did she was she a TikToker before the Hawk 2, or did that make her a TikToker?
Ooh, that's a good question. I'm not sure. I'm not sure.
And what about she's in a bit of hot water too, isn't she?
She is. She apparently, after this instant fame came because of this interview that she did, she decided to, I guess, launch some kind of a crypto, the Hawk 2 crypto. And of course, it was a fake crypto. But what ended up happening was a bunch of people invested money into it and turned around and sold it for a large amount of money. And then, of course, it's not real. So she's in a little bit of kaduki for that one. She's definitely not in the good books with that. So the crypto scene was not good. So
No, but I wonder if though she was asked to be the name of this crypto, or was it hers? Like how much did she know that it wasn't legit cryptocurrency? Did she know that, or was she just as surprised as everybody else?
no, she was in on it. She
She
was in
was
on it.
okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, that's my
Wow.
understanding. Lawyered up, lawyered up.
Wow.
Good
Yep.
question. Good question.
Yeah.
So,
Yes.
what do you think was? I don't know. I wanted to talk about this with you. What was the kindest thing that anybody has ever said to you this year? Do you
The
think?
kindest thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. You know what? It's not necessarily the kindest thing, but it's the one thing that kind of stuck with me throughout 2024. And it was early 2024. Just dealing with stuff that I was dealing with, and I was talking to my boss at my current job, and she said to me, she goes, "Keira, if somebody tells them who you are, believe them." And it's so true. That just kind of changed my trajectory, how I saw people. I stopped making excuses for people. Um, and it was a very pivotal, it was kind of, I don't want to be dramatic in saying it was life changing, but it really stuck with me throughout 2024.
It is a good quote. There's no question. It's very supportive, but it also creates a visual understanding of who people are. It falls like, when someone's actions are lacking, you have to look at it for what it truly is. And, that was great advice. That is a wonderful thing to, in terms of somebody giving you the kindest thing to say to help support you.
You know what? I guess it is kind. I was saying it wasn't really kind, but it was a very kind thing to say. And
Wonderful.
for that, I appreciate that being told to me.
Fantastic. Fantastic. Good. So
Mhm.
I got one of the happy things that made me happy, I guess, this year. One of the happy things that made me happy. I don't know why I said it that way. Dang the hippo. So he was, to me, it was hot this year for Dang the hippo. He's this little pygmy that was born in the Thailand Zoo. Do you know anything about this?
I know nothing about this hippo. Is it?
So cute. He's a little pygmy hippo. Apparently has a little bit of a biting problem, but he made headlines. They took photos of this little tiny pygmy hippo, like doing some really crazy, cute things. So if you go and look online, I don't know. He was wonderful. So he made my year this year, Dang. Go,
Is this little hippo, is he like a little house hippo? Okay, could I get one? Would I want a house hippo? I do want a house hippo. Do you
I
remember
don't
those,
think
the
so
household
because he's
house
just at
hippo
the zoo.
commercial? Okay. Oh my
I
goodness. No,
think
I'm
there
gonna have to
was,
look up little.
I used to watch the Discovery Channel. I think it was the Discovery Channel that had,
Mhm.
it had like, I like watching the monkey shows. I like all those kinds of things. And I think it was one that showed somebody had a hippo that would walk in and out of their house all the time. And it would sleep on a bed on the floor. Do you know anything about that? It just came to
Well,
mind. I don't
that's
even
the
know.
house hippo. Yeah, no, that's the house
Oh,
hippo. I don't know what commercial it was, but that's what I was thinking of. So, absolutely. No, I'm gonna have to. What was this little guy's name again?
Moo Dang. Moo Dang.
Moo Dang. I'm gonna Google little Moo Dang for sure,
Little
for
Moo
sure.
Dang.
Do we have one more? Do we have time for one more hot or not?
We have time for probably two more hots or nots.
Oh, great. It's definitely a not, but I do think it bears talking about. Is P Diddy or P didn't he?
Ooh, that guy.
Yeah.
That is that's like unwrapping and unpacking a whole other
Is that a whole
thing.
nother episode?
But I will say this. I don't know. I'm going to give my 2 cents. You tell me what you think.
Okay.
I think that he's a man who's done a lot of really bad stuff for a really long time. And I also think that a lot of people around him, no different than R. Kelly, let him get away with some nasty things that weren't good. The problem that I have with the whole P. Diddy thing is, again, we're back to the world of social media where everybody and their TikTokers want to pipe in and create a narrative that's false, for one. For two, bringing other celebrities into it that have not been named. I think that's my issue. So if you have these Jane Does that have brought charges forward and there's sexual assault charges, any other kinds of charges, drug charges, dot, dot, dot. Beyonce, Jay-Z are not named. Justin Bieber has never come forward to say that anything happened to him. Now, AI put a spin on one of his songs and it was put out into the world that he sang this song with these, the wording in his song was stating that, he left, Diddy's party a different person or something along the lines of that. Don't quote me on that.
Mhm.
And it never happened. That was an AI produced version of one of his songs. So if you look at the lyrics of all of his songs, you go all through them, he mentions nothing of that. Secondly, he's never come forward. Third, I did watch a interview with Usher, and Usher said, sure, things happened at Diddy's house. I was never forced to do anything. And yes, I may have saw things, but I never was put in a position where I was ever forced to do anything. And
Mhm.
so he never participated in some of those things that went on. Now that be it, other people have seen things, other people may have been, all the speculation's out there. Unless you're in that courtroom, unless you get to sit down and witness and understand what exactly the charges are, I think people need to stop ruining other people's lives by including them in that. Because you know what? Every Hollywood party, every A-lister, every B-lister, C-listers that go to these parties, there's photos that are going to come out and surface. It's just, people, you're standing next to whomever, you're standing next to Trump, you're standing next to P. Diddy, you're standing next to Kevin Hart. They're all being dragged through the mud, their name, and there's no proof.
Yeah.
So I have a problem with that. I think that's my biggest issue. I hope he gets what he gets for sure. Um, and that's my 2 cents. What about you?
Yeah, no, absolutely. I 100% agree with you. And every time something like this comes up, whether it's being, another famous actor that's being accused of, assaulting women because of their position of power, whether it's the comedians, I'm not going to name names because it's not relevant to this. What you've done in the 70s is not, we're not condoning that, or what you've done in the 80s or 90s. We don't condone it now. But if you did do those things, you should be held accountable. Why has it taken it this long for everything to be brought up? If you didn't do it, shame on anybody that is making these false accusations against these people that are doing what they love, and just because they're in public power.
I agree.
They're a public figure. The minute people know that what's happened at P. Diddy's white parties, maybe because you're in the public eye, maybe get out of there. Don't be associated with that.
Yeah,
Hard to say. We're not there. It's definitely, and especially with the AI nowadays, you can change anything. You can change pictures. You can do anything. It's so hard to know what's true out there. But if he did a fraction of what he's being accused of, and if that is the reality, then he needs to be accountable for that.
yeah, absolutely. I mean,
100%.
you know that R. Kelly, he's in prison, and he's in prison because he did those things. And the bottom line is P. Diddy did a lot of things. And so there's, violence and so on. So I hope he gets exactly what's coming to him. It is what it is. But I think don't drag the world down with you when people are trying to create a false narrative to get more followers on social media is not the right way to do it. And I think there's too much of that going on out there. But anyway,
Yes, let's not
we
spend too
are
much time.
getting close to wrapping up our edition. However, I did want to bring up probably the number one thing that impacted 2024. Let's not forget the big, 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 big one, which is, of course, the United States election and the results of that.
President-elect Donald Trump.
I
Oh,
sort of laugh because I don't know. I was rooting for Kamala Harris, and one of the biggest, I guess, downsides to all of it is now what's happening on social media, on X specifically, because Elon Musk owns it. And, he had a lot to do with this election. He made a statement a couple of years ago on one of his posts saying that anything in the world can be hacked. So I'm going to give my 2 cents. I'm going to say that the election was hacked by Mr. Musk, and I think it was bought. And so the world out there is saying that Elon Musk is going to be the president-elect and Donald Trump is his sidekick. So he's not responding to that very lightly on his posts.
yeah.
And I think it's quite funny to watch. But nonetheless, I think in my mind, in my heart, I think it was rigged. That's where I'm going with. So yeah, what
So
about you?
the Russians are no longer rigging the election. It's Elon Musk.
It's a combination. Combination. Just let's not forget that. They can't just pin it on one person.
Yeah. I wonder if Donald Trump will change his vice president to Elon. Trump and Musk.
He seems to have a big enough. He thinks he can change the world. Apparently, he's
Well, he can
got
do
some.
whatever he wants. Donald Trump.
It's
He can
Donald
do
Trump.
whatever he wants. He's going to be the president on January 20th. So he can do whatever he wants.
Oh gosh.
Oh, the
Well,
next
I
4 years.
don't know. This is New Year's Eve, and we are just going to be wrapping up this edition of If Margaritas Could Talk. I am super thankful for Keira joining me today, and I wanted to just quickly say to all of our listeners out there that we are ever so grateful for your support and so on. Keira, did you have anything additional you'd like to add?
I do. You know what? I don't think we can do any kind of recap or end of the year chats, discussions, talks without just kind of remembering the wonderful people we have lost throughout this past year.
Sounds good.
I'm going to go through them in no particular order. Maggie Smith, Terry Garr, Carl Weathers, Donald Sutherland, Shelley Duvall, James Earl Jones, Chris Christopherson, Quincy Jones, Liam Payne, Shannon Doherty, Tony Bennett, Toby Keith, Richard Simmons, Bob Newhart, Phil Donahue. We just lost Jimmy Carter. He turned 100. And Linda Lavin. Linda Lavin played Alice. I had to look that up. I was like, and she was in No Good Deed. Linda
Very,
Lavin.
Yes. All, every single one of those incredible humans have left a mark,
Yep.
obviously, in society and incredible legacies, which will forever be remembered. And of course, our heart always goes out to those families that lose those family members. Jimmy Carter, 100. I can't even imagine. Can't even imagine. Well,
Yeah.
thank you, everybody. As we close this last episode of 2024, remember to shake off the noise, listen to your heart, and keep listening as we head into 2025. Thank you all for supporting us. And if margaritas could talk, please like, follow, and subscribe on your favorite platform. And additionally, you can find all episodes on www.ifmargaritascouldtalk.com. Happy New Year. Cheers. And cheers to you, Keira.
Cheers to you, Tracy. Happy New Year.